Here we go. What is going on, Cover One crew? Welcome back to the show. You guys know why you're here. It's do or die. No more tomorrow for a lot of us. We're talking week number 14, start, sit, lineup advice, and we got to get those victories. For all of us that are on the edge of, on the brink of making it into the fantasy football playoffs, we got to get these victories. There is no kidding about that. And I'm telling y'all, it's going to be a very difficult situation. I got you covered, though. Bye week troubles, last bye week of the season. Arizona and the Washington Commanders, the Commies. So, I mean, it's not as drastic as it was last week, but we still got some issues we got to deal with. There is injuries. There is weather events. I will keep tabs on that for y'all as well, but let's go rapid fire. As always, the Atlanta Falcons taking on those Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Desmond Ridder. They've been doing enough. They're 6-6 and leading in the lead of the division, hoping to win the division race. This is a big contest for both clubs. Ridder, I'm going to put him on the mid-level risk right now, okay? He's not going to give you a whole heaping of a lot through the pass game and facing the Tampa Bay Bucs defense that is very much stout versus the run. We could see a mid-level risk for Bijan. I still like the play of Bijan this week. Just temper the expectations of him having a supreme blow-up matchup. We should see anywhere from 9 to 12 points and feel comfortable in that respect. Desmond Ridder, on the other hand, as long as he doesn't give this game away, I think they have the opportunity. The defense is doing more than enough to keep him involved. I will not play Desmond Ridder in this contest. I mean, there is opportunity in deeper leagues because this Tampa Bay Bucs secondary is not great, so there is upside there for Drake London, who is on a mid-level risk. I don't mind the flex play this week for London, but again, if they do pressure a Ridder, it's going to be very tough. So if you have better options, definitely take those this week. Kyle Pitts, Jonnu Smith, low upside in the mid for a Kyle Pitts. It's been far too long. You got to believe they're going to try to at least integrate him in the offense this week just a little bit more than what we've been seeing. Jonnu's just absolutely been busting for us these past several weeks. Cannot trust it. And Tyler Algier with the low upside in the red. I do not like it whatsoever. Baltimore Ravens, one of those weather event contests that I got. It's anywhere from 10 to 20 miles per hour winds, some rain with gusts. I mean, it's not going to be good. So Lamar Jackson on the low-level risk, taking on these LA Rams in Baltimore. And, I mean, the rushing upside should be key in this contest. Lots of running and not so much on the passing upside, I want to say, if the weather is turning for the worse. So definitely stay tuned with that. But still, Lamar Jackson should be able to do enough with his legs to get you over 15 points. We've seen it from time to time where he's been sprinkling too much Edwards touchdowns and then Keaton Mitchell, but I do believe rushing upside is definitely going to be key here. So Lamar on the low-level risk for rushing upside only. Maybe we do get some sprinkles of passes. Gus Edwards still got TD upside for days every single week, and then Keaton Mitchell on the mid-level risk because the Rams do like to play a good run defense, so there will be some issues getting through, but there's going to be opportunities to be had for these gentlemen. Good upside for Zay Flowers, potential jet sweeps, short options. You saw what he could do with the ball in his hand. Just give it to him again, and there's good upside for him right now. But again, weather could be determined on all of these situations. Low upside for Rashad Bateman. OBJ on the mid-level. Too low upside for me this week. I don't like either play whatsoever. And then Isaiah Likely on the mid-level. PPR upside for me. I do like the play of Likely because you got to find the safe options, safe plays, and Likely could have himself a decent day. So for me, Likely, I'm definitely plugging and playing because we need tight end productivity. No kidding. I mean, 7 targets is not out of the question. Buffalo Bills. Bills Mafia taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Huge game. This is playoff time for the Buffalo Bills as well. I'm wearing my Bills gear. I'm getting ready. It's time. Playoffs start today, or right now, basically, for the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen, low-level risk, man. He wants this game. You know he's going to be up for this game. And the way the Bills played versus Philadelphia Eagles before they went into the bye week, you know if they continue to play like that down the stretch, they're going to be a very tough team to beat. Josh Allen is playing extremely well. I mean, okay, you giving me the 1 interception, 1 fumble, fine. I'll take it as long as you're putting up massive statistics and winning football games. I think there is potential opportunity here. Allen's easy fire up. James Cook on the PBR upside, mid-level. For me, I think they will continue to utilize him as Joe Brady does like to sprinkle in his running backs. There should be a boom upside here for a James Cook. I like the play this week. They're going to have to lean upon him greatly as Kansas City does have some injuries at the linebacker spot. So, I mean, their safeties are definitely going to have to creep up and help out on a Cook, but I like his game a lot. High-level risk for a Murray. Outside of closing out the game in TD upside, I'm not risking it this week. Stefon Diggs, low-level risk. He's been kind of quiet these past several weeks. I think this is the Diggs game that we absolutely know and see coming. So low-level risk for me. Fire up Diggs, 10 boom games on the season. He's been absolutely phenomenal. Sleeper appeal does go to Gabe Davis. He always shows out versus Kansas City Chiefs, and I don't foresee anything different this week unless Khalil Shakir takes that Gabe Davis role. But I do like the sleeper appeal in my flex spot for a Gabriel Davis. There is potential here for TD upside. Mid-level risk for Khalil Shakir. Maybe deeper leagues, 14, 16 teams. Okay, you got some PPR upside. Anywhere from 5 to 7 points is likely your ceiling at this point unless Shakir finds his way into the end zone. He is kind of that sneaky play depending on the matchup, so they might forget about Shakir. He could have a decent day. Don't fade that one whatsoever. And then Dalton Kincaid has good upside, PPR upside once again, even though Dawson Knox is a questionable coming back from the IR return with that wrist injury. Not sure if he's going to suit up in this contest. Even if he does, I think Kincaid is still the safer play this week with the Buffalo Bills. Carolina Panthers taking on those New Orleans Saints. Season is in complete disarray. 1-11 for these Panthers. Bryce Young, high-level risk. Even though the Saints defense has not played well of recent memory, I mean, okay, this is the game where the defense does get right. Bryce Young is going to absolutely have issues again with this New Orleans Saints defense. Miles Sanders, low upside. You cannot play this man for weeks already. We can move past that because Chuba Hubbard has been playing decent enough, and I think there is good upside for him to at least continue with the volume upside play. If you have Chuba and you've been utilizing him, there is still potential here if you have issues at the running back spot. If you have better options, take them, but Chuba is a decent play this week as well. PPR upside is going to the low upside for me. I still got it on PPR upside here because Adam Thielen can still do the business, but a lot of defense are keying in on Adam Thielen, so it is getting a lot lower for me. So low upside to PPR upside for Adam Thielen. I am not necessarily trusting it. I got him on my bench in plenty dynasty leagues. I am not touching it this week as well. I think the Saints defense will still give Bryce Young the fits. DJ Chark on the high-level risk outside of deep shots. You're not touching it. Jonathan Mingo, he is creeping up on the mid-level risk for me because target share is increasing for this man, and there is some potential. But again, that's deeper. 14-team leagues. I would not trust it in 12-team leagues. Tommy Tremble comes back potentially from the hip on the questionable tag. He is a high-level risk play for me. The Chicago Bears taking on those Detroit Lions. Okay, and they want to play the game of spoiler. Justin Fields looked not great. Okay, I guess this past week before the bye week. I can't get behind it right now. As long as Justin Fields continues to do what he's doing, the play calling is piss poor. I just don't like anything going on in Chicago right now. Yes, DJ Moore is your only viable option where he does get a lot of screen passes, tons of PPR upside, and he can make a house call at any given moment. So there is low level risk for a DJ Moore. You gotta believe they want to run the football a little bit more. Hopefully that Justin Fields gonna be able to air out the football, but it just seems like he's afraid to go over the middle, which is my biggest concern. He got to be able to spread the field, go through your progressions, and find other wide receivers outside of the screen pass. And if it isn't there, take off and use your legs. I just don't understand what's going on in Chicago. Justin Fields still low-level risk. Should be able to give you enough fantasy points this week once again. It just overall, Chicago is not very good in this respect. D'Onta Foreman, high-level risk, dealing with that injury. I think they're going to flip it back to a Herbert and a Roschon, both on the mid-level risk. Hard to trust who's going to get the volume. It's a three-headed monster at this point, and we could see this, cripple us when it comes to top-end volume upside. So Roschon is on a lesser, where Khalil Herbert, I would say, would be the preferred start for me in this backfield this week. Like I said, DJ Moore, fire him up. Darnell Mooney, not touching it. And Cole Kmet on the mid-level risk versus these Lions. There is a potential beatable ability here in touchdown upside for Cole Kmet. I'm okay playing Kmet this week as well. Cincinnati Bengals taking on those Indianapolis Colts. Jake Browning. I think we got a QB controversy in Cincinnati. Joey B, you better watch out, man, because Browning looked damn good this past week. And here's the thing. Every time I told you I'll go into any evaluation I have on quarterbacks and wide receivers, who lifts up whom? That is the question that you got to ask yourself. And in this offense, you got guys like Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon. They can absolutely uplift a quarterback like a Jake Browning, but, they simplified the offense enough to give him the easy completions, give him the high percentage plays, and Jamar Chase did absolutely spectacularly in helping the cause of Browning to make him look a lot better. So Browning on the mid-level risk. If you're struggling streaming quarterback, quarterbacks. I don't hate the play this week, to be honest with you, against these Indianapolis Colts. There is decent potential here as well, because once you got a guy like Ja'Marr Chase, he's going to help the cause every single week. Joe Mixon on the low-level risk. He's been running so well these past 5 weeks. I absolutely love his game right now. I don't understand. Looks like he's dropped some pounds, mid-season. He looks light. He looks fresh. He looks decisive. I like everything about Joe Mixon right now. Fire him up everywhere you got him. Chase Brown, low floor, but he's on the rise for me. Watch out for this guy. Got his scouting report down here in the videos if you guys want to know what I thought about him. I really do like his game. Kid from Illinois. He's got a lot of power, a lot of, oomph in his game, and he could be an absolute glorious compliment to a Joe Mixon. Ja'Marr Chase, don't even have to talk about that. Fire him up. T. Higgins on the mid-level risk. It's all about target share. They kind of nursed him along in his first game back, and I could see, potentially Browning at least spreading the ball enough around, maybe 5-6 targets to a Higgins, where he's going to kind of fade a Tyler Boyd. We'll see how that does go. More flex wide receiver 3 for T. Higgins for me this week, where Chase would be another easy wide receiver 1 for me. Tyler Boyd is dealing with an ankle injury, so he's got an injury risk for me, which is why I'm saying T. Higgins is an easy flex option for me. Potential upside there as well. Tanner Hudson on the PPR floor. They're giving him enough sprinkles in this offense to be safe at 5 points, but I think you could do better in the tight end spot, but if you're really struggling at tight end, 5 to 6 points, Hudson will definitely get you week to week at this point. Cleveland Brownies taking on those Jacksonville Jaguars. Another weather event contest again. Gusts, rain, wind. It's not going to be good. They're keeping the lips tight and sealed, Kevin Stefanski, Coach Stefanski, on who is going to be the starting quarterback in this offense. Is it going to be Joe Flacco, old balls, or is it going to be DTR, young man, ready to come up? We'll see. I do believe the way Joe Flacco played, it was 17 points, man. How can you, he's done a lot better moving the offense than we've seen from any quarterback outside of Deshaun Watson. So I would predict that Joe Flacco gets another kick at the can. Mid-level risk for me. Even though the weather's bad, Joe's got a big arm, and he's going to be able to at least throw the football quite a bit. Low-level risk for Jerome Ford. I'm firing him up everywhere I got him. And subsequently with a Kareem Hunt, I think you can play both of them this week because of the weather event. If it is going to be raining a lot, they're going to have to run the football quite a bit. The only outside of fumbles, potential ball security issues, but Jerome Ford has been good, man. 8 boom games. I don't know. Okay, fine. He's not getting a lot of volume, but he's making it count with high efficiency. Jerome Ford's easy for me. Kareem Hunt should get in the mix once again. Going to be tough for Kareem Hunt to get over 10 points this week outside of finding the end zone, so I'm going to give that to a Ford, obviously, over Hunt. But I think if you're desperate, I think you could play Hunt this week as well. Amari Cooper is dealing with a concussion and ribs, but he is on the mid-level risk for me. They say he's going to suit up. How many targets is this man going to get? We'll see. Maybe it does go in default over to an Elijah Moore. Like I'm saying, PPR upside, even in a weather event. Short plays, short passes, safety options, third downs, for first down appeal does come and look good for an Elijah Moore. Flacco seemed to find some chemistry with this man this past week. I do like the flex appeal for Elijah this week as well. Cedric Tillman, you're not starting that. And David Njoku on the mid-level risk. Just like the Baltimore Ravens weather event, they're going to go to short passes, try to get some completions, and move chains that way. At least, yak yardage could be the name of the game in these contests, and I don't hate Aiden Njoku this week. Dallas Cowboys taking on those Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday Night Football. Huge one, just like the Bills-Chiefs. Dallas, Philly are the 2 biggest contests this week. Okay, and this is the thing. I was saying in the Boom and Bust video, am I truly sold on these Cowboys right now being the top-end contender? No offense to Dallas Cowboy fans. I'm not overly convinced. We've seen this story before many times where they're beating up, low-level teams and everyone's saying, oh, Dak's MVP. Oh, Super Bowl is coming to Dallas, and then they fade off because they're playing higher teams, higher-octane clubs. The Eagles are a big test for them. The Dallas Cowboys already dropped the first contest versus these Eagles, and now it's in Dallas. We'll see what does transpire. Everyone's kind of falling off because the Eagles got beat down by the Niners. I got still low-level risk on Dak Prescott. He's going to be able to move the football against this Eagles secondary that isn't very good. They give up a lot of yards to wide receivers, and it should be again this week as well. So it should be a pound-for-pound, blow-for-blow this week when it comes to touchdowns. Fire up Dak everywhere he got him. Tony Pollard, on the other hand, mid-level risk outside of PPR upside. I don't foresee him getting a lot of traction through this front 7 of Philly, which is still very strong, and they will make Tony Pollard earn every yard that he gets in this contest. Mid-level risk, play at your own risk. Caution levels are, I'm waving the caution flags for a Tony Pollard this week. I'm not necessarily digging it because I think they're going to go super pass happy. CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks both get low-level risk for me. I could even almost put CeeDee Lamb back to a stud start just like I had him last week. Fire them up, man. You got it. They're going to go with the air game, and they're going to pass the ball quite a bit because the Eagles are gashable, like we saw with the 49ers, even though they don't have a Debo on this team, so the jet sweeps are not necessarily going to be the MO, but I mean, getting outside on these Eagles is the way to go. Maybe Pollard does break one going on the outside, but I don't like Pollard play outside of the Lamb and Cooks. I do like the airing it out more so than running the football. Michael Gallup, still high-level risk, and Jake Ferguson once again does have TD upside. I am firing up all these Cowboys because I do foresee a lot of points scored on the board, man. Denver Broncos taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. Okay, Broncos fighting for their playoff lives. Chargers are trying to save their season. Russell Wilson, let's ride. 9 boom games. I mean, found the fountain of youth here in Denver with Sean Payton. And I do like the upside here play because, I mean, the Chargers defense, it feels like the Chargers team in general has packed it in. They want Staley basically gone. They're not going to, sell out for the coach anymore. I do think that the Denver Broncos will be able to find their offense to some degree in this contest. Javonte Williams on the low-level risk. Fire him up everywhere you got him. Maybe he gets into the end zone this week. I'm going to put an 80% marker that he finds his way into the end zone for the first time in God knows how long. Vontae, you're killing us, man. Find your way into the end zone. Low-level risk for me in that sense. Jerry Jeudy on the mid-level, but I am predicting a boom for this man. It's time. Start to feed other people outside of a Cortland Sutton, who again is going to be on a low-level risk because, I mean, the chemistry building with a Russell Wilson has been far too good this season, but Jerry Jeudy for me, this is the week. I told y'all early on I was out on a Jerry Jeudy for the remainder of the season. I'm going to do one last kick at the can. I'm going out on a limb, high-level risk reward here, but I think it's a mid-level risk play. There is going to be at least 6 to 7 targets to come his way against the secondary. Jerry Jeudy, let's find that end zone, make me look like a genius in that respect. And then Marvin Mims, Adam Troutman, high-level risk. You're not playing those gentlemen. Detroit Lions taking on those Chicago Bears, like I'm saying. Jared Goff on the mid-level risk. I think it's, in between mid-level and low-level. I think you could play him. Because the Bears' defense has been playing that much better as of late, I think that they will give the Lions a run for their money, at least early on in this contest. However, they will run the football quite a bit, so David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, fire both these gentlemen up. Yes, I understand Gibby has not done well these past 2 contests. This is going to be the game where they're going to utilize speed and the pass game for Gibby. I foresee a touchdown coming for Gibbs. We could see one for Monty as well. Fire both these gentlemen up. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he had somewhat of a game off this past week, only 2 or 3 receptions, but he found his way into the end zone. Low-level risk, 11 boom games for Amon-Ra. He's just been killing it. You're firing him up without even thinking every single week. Jameson Williams, J-Mo. Y'all see that speed he's got? I told you, once they figure this thing out with J-Mo, it is going to be one of the deadliest things in the world. I just thought, you know what, maybe Goff just can't get him the football deep down the field with timing. Once Hendon Hooker becomes a quarterback for the Lions, we could be seeing a fireworks show with J-Mo. Mid-level risk, still not going to recommend starting it, but there is upside here that is potentially happening where he could get a floor of 8 to 10 points, which is decent for your flex. But this week versus the Bears, we may want to temper those expectations, look in another direction in that respect. Josh Reynolds, high-level risk, haven't touched that in a long time as well. And Sam Laporta, okay, I went on a limb, said last week it wasn't going to be a great week, and he hit me in the face with a middle finger. Okay, Laporta's that good, man. Low-level risk. They're going to continue to go down to what works, and I think the run game, Sam Laporta and Amon-Ra, it works just too damn well, and these guys should produce against the Bears this week. Green Bay Packers taking on those New York Giants on Monday Night Football. We got doubleheader Monday Night Football, by the way, if y'all didn't know. Lots of football. Give me more, man. Inject it into my veins. I'm good with it. Jordan Love, feeling the love for Love. He was one of my sleepers, late-round gems coming into the offseason. He's starting to pick it up, man. 10 boom games for y'all. 231 points. He's been very serviceable, and then some. You can fire up Jordan Love everywhere you got him versus the Giants. A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones, what are we doing? Both on the injury report. Dillon's got a knee. Jones got a knee. Even though Dillon did suit up this past contest, look a lot better. I think they're going to nurse Aaron Jones along. It's been a bad season for him health-wise, so I'd rather play an A.J. Dillon over an Aaron Jones at this point until further notice. I will keep you updated in those comments about the injury reports as they come out on an Aaron Jones. But, I mean, the injury risk for me in Week 14, especially if you're trying to get into the fantasy playoffs, far too risky for me at this point. Romeo Doubs, Romeo. I'm going to continue down this good upside path because he hasn't found the end zone in quite some time. So I do believe that this could be the week versus these Giants. They go back to Romeo Doubs in the red zone. He could have some good upside in TD appeal where Jaden Reed does have the green PPR upside for me once again this week. especially if Aaron Jones does not play in this contest. We should see him integrated again with those jet sweeps, giving him some rushing upside as well. Christian Watson is on the mid-level injury risk for me. He's dealing with a hammy. Haven't heard enough to suggest that he's going to play. We'll see what the practice is like on a Saturday. We'll definitely get better word. But if he does play, I got to caution it because, I mean, he tweaked it enough. He's been dealing with it all season long. Tweaked it last week once again, and it did not look good. He had to be taken out of the contest. But when he's healthy, Watson would have been one of these guys that could be a league winner for us. That's why we want to see him on the field. So we'll see the injury report. I'll keep you updated with that one as well. And Tucker Kraft, low upside, but he does always possess TD upside with this team. I do like Tucker Kraft quite a bit, and I think once he rounds out his the rest of his game overall, I think he's going to be a pretty damn good tight end in this league. I'm not necessarily recommending playing him, but I mean, unless you're in a pinch and require it, then you do it, 6 to 7 points is your ceiling for a Kraft. Houston Texans taking on those New York Jets. Weather event, what did I say again, man? Wind, rain, gusts, it's not going to be good. Mid-level risk for CJ Stroud. They lost a Tank Dell this past week, and I am hurting trying to replace a Tank Dell who was giving us like 10 to 15 points per week as a floor. I mean, it's very difficult to replace, but they're going to have to move forward. Devin Singletary and a Dameon Pierce. I think, with Stroud, if you do have a double quarterback sitting on your bench, or an extra quarterback, I should say, sitting on your bench, I may exercise that recommendation to say weather and the Jets defense, rookie quarterback. Yes, Stroud has played extremely well, but this may not be the game that we want to hedge our bets on with Stroud. If you got a better option, I would suggest taking it and putting Stroud on the bench. If you don't, I understand. We got to play C.J. Stroud. But Devin Singletary, Dameon Pierce, mid-level for Singletary and low risk for Dameon Pierce. You got to think the ground and pound is going to be heavy here with TD upside coming to a Dameon Pierce this week. They're trying to get him reacclimated. I mean, Devin Singletary has seen his touches fall back quite a bit since Pierce has come back. So I do think they want to see what they got into Dameon Pierce. Can he lead the backfield like Devin Singletary was? He will take TD upside. So if Stroud does get him inside the 5-yard line, we could see Pierce scoring touchdowns over Singletary this week. Nico Collins, he continues to make me look foolish. Okay, finally, I'm on board. This guy's good, okay? I'm going to admit it. I was wrong. I was trying to be like, can he be this guy? Is he the true wide receiver one? He's a wide receiver one. He's too damn good, man. He was carving up the Denver Broncos where it was, okay, there was stipulation there, so my theory wasn't necessarily wrong because Patrick Surtain should have been playing up against a Nico Collins where Surtain was taking on Tank Dell early on. Surtain went down with that injury, and then Nico did a lot of his damage versus Morrow and those other defensive backs. So I wasn't necessarily wrong because I said I thought, the shadow was going to be a Surtain on Nico. So pick your poison. Maybe I'm not 100% wrong. I still like Nico Collins. He's turned my head enough to say it's a mid-level risk this week going up against Sauce. We'll see how he does against Sauce, and then if he does any kind of damage, then I'll bite my tongue and put my foot in my mouth even more. But I got a mid-level risk for him this week. Noah Brown on the low upside to mid-level. Only because of weather and the New York Jets. We'll see how it does pan out. I don't foresee a lot of, high yardage upside in this contest overall. It might be one of those, low scoring 15-10 contests that's not going to, produce a lot of fantasy points for us. Robert Woods, Bobby Trees, high level risk. Don't like it. Want to see more John Mechie now. We're done with Bobby Trees. Let's see what John Mechie's got. And until we see that, until further notice, Bobby Trees on the high level risk, some PPR upside. And then Brevin Jordan, he's got some good upside this week. Any weather event, safety, blanket passes will be key. I don't hate the play this week. It's a high risk, high reward, good upside type of play. I don't hate it. So if you got Brevin Jordan, you may want to start him, but if you have better options, obviously take that as well. Indianapolis Colts taking on those Cincinnati Bengals. Okay, Gardner Minshew's got this team 7-5. They're going in the playoffs even without Jonathan Taylor, who's out of this contest with a thumb injury again. Gardner Minshew on the mid-level risk. His floor has been extremely safe, man. Anywhere from 12 to 16, it's a safe floor for all y'all streaming quarterback players. This week, once again, versus the Bengals, they got a good front line, but they do give up some yards. We saw what T-Law was able to do last week. I think Minshew could at least get you the 15 to 18 points and continue to pass the ball to Michael Pittman, low-level risk. Pittman's been an absolute beast these past several weeks, as it's just been a constant force feeding of targets to this man. Should continue, where Zach Moss does get the green volume upside once again with no reliable backup like a Trey Sermon behind him. High-level risk for Sermon. Not touching that. Alec Pierce, he did blow up for the first time this season, this past week. but I'm still marking him as a high-level risk. I think that's a one-off. The team wasn't expecting it, and they just exploited everything they had in it. We got to see some Josh Downs, man. Finally, can we get back to the PPR upside game? Give this man 8 targets. Let him see what he can do in the open field. Feed Josh Downs. A lot of us need him this week. I'm kind of speaking it into existence, but I don't care. I like Josh Downs with the PPR upside mid-level risk this week, and then high-level risk for Kylen Granson, as somebody's got to taper off with others getting targets. Jacksonville Jaguars in a world of hurt right now. Trevor Lawrence is dealing with that ankle injury. Everybody thought the season was over the way he fell down. But, I mean, they're saying he's a questionable and could potentially suit up, so they're going to do a hell of a tape job and make that ankle, immovable, and he could be suiting up in this contest. That will uplift everybody in this game, but it is in the weather event in Cleveland, so, I mean, get ready for the rain, the gusts. I'm repeating myself like a broken record, but, I mean, all these games with the weather event, it's going to have high levels of rain potential and then high gusting winds, so it's not conducive to high levels of upside, but if Trevor Lawrence does play, I am cautious, man. I think they will continue to run the football. They will try to give it to Travis Etienne as much as possible, give very safe throws for a Trevor Lawrence. So, I mean, Calvin Ridley would drop down. Everybody drops down not only for weather, but potential Trevor Lawrence not playing. So, mid-level risk for Ridley. PPR upside potential for a Parker Washington because Christian Kirk is out with a groin. The man broke a nut because the way he fell. They're calling it a groin, but, I mean, damn, that might have hurt, man. Broke his nut on the play. I mean, that's a new one. I haven't seen that one in a very long time. But Parker Washington on the PPR upside. Zay Jones, mid-level risk. There is some upside if Beathard does play for these wide receivers to help him. Like the Bengals wide receivers help a Browning, there is potential here for that as well. But everybody would get a substantial downgrade, in my opinion, in this offense this week. Evan Ingram still would have a possessed low-level risk for me. Finally found his way into the end zone. He gave me the middle finger last week as well. I didn't do very well last week, and I do apologize for that. There was a lot of misses this past week out of the entire season. I think it was one of my worst weeks in predicting, but it happens from time to time. Evan Ingram, low-level risk. I think there is upside here. Even if Beathard does play, he would be that safety blanket option that he would require. Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Buffalo Bills. Huge game, like I'm saying. Patrick Mahomes, boy. He's always geared up to play the Buffalo Bills. Big news, though. Isaiah Pacheco has been ruled out of this contest. No more running machine, head bobbing, out of control. He's dealing with a shoulder injury. Jerick McKinnon and Clyde Edwards-Helaire are going to have to take over in this backfield. Fire up a Patrick Mahomes. The Bills' defense will still be able to at least give pressure on him. You want to hope. But Mahomes has been evading a pass rush all season long, so low-level risk. Fire him up. Jerick McKinnon, I would say, is the better play PPR upside-wise over a CEH. But CEH should be able to at least get goal line opportunities if they find themselves in the red zone. But that could be also defaulted back to a Travis Kelce with those shorts, little sweep tosses that he gets on the inside the 5-yard line. We could see a resurrection of that play, as we hadn't seen that a lot this season as well. Sky Moore on the low upside, mid-level, where Watson, I'm downgrading to a red upside, low upside play. It's kind of one of these things. You can't trust either one of these gentlemen in 12-team leagues at this point. Who can you trust? A Rashee Rice. There's been more than enough. It's a mid-level risk for me, but I think the Bills do have the upside here when it comes to defensive play. They're going to be able to key in on a Travis Kelce and say, somebody else beat us. I don't trust MVS's hands for days. So Sky Moore does seem like the guy that could be the X-factor play that the Bills aren't ready for, including a Justin Watson. But I'm going to say low upside play. I'm going to play more over Watson this week if I had to, but I do not like it if you in 12-team leagues whatsoever. Rashee Rice, fire him up, and then Travis Kelce, obviously, without thinking. His season has not been great, but I mean, it's Travis Kelce. He's going to score a touchdown against the Buffalo Bills. Los Angeles Chargers taking on the Denver Broncos. Trying to save their season in LA, and Coach Staley says, hey, we're going to move away from Austin Eckler. Okay, see if that works for you, man. I don't really see it happening. One of your best players on the team, yeah, he has not ran well these past 3 weeks, but it's still Austin Eckler. Allow him to get out of his own funk. Why would you put him on the bench and give more carries to Josh Kelly? Okay, hopefully it works out for you, man. Herbert on the low-level risk, even though it has not looked good these past several weeks. Keenan Allen is off the injury report, so he's back up to a low-level risk for me. They should force feed him on the regular. The issue at hand is there's no supportive wide receiver pieces for Herbert, which has pulled back his fantasy upside. I still believe versus the Denver Broncos, last kick in the can to save their season, we're going to see the best out of Justin Herbert this week, and I do believe Austin Eckler is going to have a chip on his shoulder. I think it's a motivational piece from Staley saying he's going to, give more more touches to Kelly, I should say. I think Eckler is going to be just fine, but I'm going to rank him here as a mid-level because Coach Staley does some weird-ish. You know what I'm saying, man. Quentin Johnston, high-level risk, not playing that. Guyton, similarly, and then TD upside on the mid-level risk for a Gerald Everett. There was potential Josh Palmer coming back from the IR return. He has been already ruled out with a knee. So, I mean, outside of Keenan Allen, Eckler, and Everett, it's going to be very tough sledding for these LA Chargers. Los Angeles Rams in the weather event in Baltimore. Everybody gets a downgrade because of the gusting winds. Matthew Stafford, mid-level risk on the road in Baltimore. Last time these guys played in Baltimore, Matthew Stafford did not have a good day. He does not travel well to Baltimore. I do not like it whatsoever. Mid-level risk only because he's got great wide receivers like Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua that could support him in the short pass game. Mid-level risk, I would look for better options than a Matthew Stafford this week. Kyren Williams, playing it safe. You got to play Kyren, but I'm going to put him on the mid-level risk. I think he still finds way into the end zone at some point. I think they still force feed him in the pass game. They will get you the point productivity we require from a Kyren, but I'm going to just play it safe on the call and say it's mid-level because the Baltimore Ravens defense is very good and the weather is not looking great, man. Cooper Kupp has not played great overall, but a mid-level risk for me. They got to utilize both Puka and Kupp in this contest to at least move the chains. We'll see how it goes. I want to say at this point, if I had to choose, I'm going to say Nacua over Kupp this week as well. But if you got both these gentlemen on separate teams, you got to fire up Kupp and Nacua. We drafted these players at a certain point. You got to play them in crunch time. Start your studs. So I'm going to default and say start Kupp, start Nacua. I'm okay with that. High-level risk to Tutu Atwell not playing it. And Tyler Higbee, he's got a doubtful on a neck injury. So, I mean, Hopkins is the tight end. I don't like it. I'm not playing it, man. You never know what's going to happen when you got a backup tight end that it basically never sees the field. Could he get a touchdown? Yeah, he could probably get 3 and make me look foolish once again. I'm not touching it. I don't care if he hits 3 on the waiver wire. Good for you, sir. Do it all day long. Las Vegas Raiders taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Aiden O'Connell. Okay, I'm not a huge fan, but at least he's starting to figure out how to just chuck the ball to Devontae Adams, so I'm okay with that. Low-level risk for Devontae. Fire him up everywhere he got him. Josh Jacobs, fire him up everywhere he got him. Minnesota Vikings do give up some yards to the ground and through the air. I'm okay with it, man. I think O'Connell was going to be able to do at least enough to give us what we require for point totals. Jacobs been running very well this season, even against tough defenses, so I foresee him having a good day. Where Jacoby Myers on the mid-level risk. 7 boom games to Adams 5. I mean, how can you not play this, man? It just, the downgrade to an Aiden O'Connell gets us the recency bias to, always question ourselves. Better options, don't play Myers. If you got Myers with no better options, fire him up. I guess I could put it that way. High-level risk for Hunter Renfrow all season long, and then low upside in the red for a Michael Mayer. I would look in another direction. I just want to see more. Just not near enough for this Raiders team to feel all warm and fuzzy at this point. Miami Dolphins taking on those Tennessee Titans in this one of the second games on Monday Night Football. Tua Tagovailoa, low-level risk. I mean, okay, this offense is predicated upon only 4 people. Tua, Raheem, Etienne, and then Tyreek Hill. Everyone else, okay, they're just an afterthought. So fire up Tua. Fire up Mostert, even though he's dealing with a knee. There is no question that he's going to play in this contest. Devin off the A-chain. Etienne, fire him up. He's just an absolute point-getter. Efficiency through the roof. And then Tyreek Hill's dealing with an ankle injury, but he's suiting up in this contest. What do we do with Jalen Waddle? This is the biggest problem. He's been giving us like 6, 8, 9, 12, 7. It's been so bad this year for Waddle. And I mean, you drafted him high, so it feels like we got to play him, especially against a Tennessee team that's going to really struggle to at least defend these speedy wide receivers. Big mismatches all over the field. I'm going to say flex it. Flex it, Jalen Waddle this week. I've been humming and hawing about Waddle all week long, saying, can you find better options? But based on where you drafted him, you probably don't have it. So, fire him up in your flex and hope for the best that he can get you anywhere 10 and maybe a touchdown, get you 12 points. That would actually be the upside for me with a Waddle. Only 121 points this year, 5 boom games where Tyreek Hill's got 266. You kind of see where this offense has been going the entire season. Minnesota Vikings taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. Josh Dobbs had a piss-poor contest before entering the bye week on Monday Night Football. 3 interceptions, did not look good. Not all of them were his fault. One of them was a tip from Jordan Addison, but if he doesn't play well in this contest, 6-6 season on the line, they could turn to a Jaren Hall, which would absolutely downgrade this offense even more until we see Jaren Hall play football. We got him, 2 plays, and then Hall went down with a concussion. So I do foresee Dobbs playing a lot better in this contest. Understand the playbook a little bit more, get that bye week, more practice reps. Hopefully that does happen. Alexander Mattison, on the other hand, I do like the rushing upside this week. Low risk for me. Fire up a Matty everywhere you got him, where a Ty Chandler would drop down a low upside and TD upside play if they are in the red zone. So I think you would have better options than a Ty Chandler this week, but I like Matty to play and do very well. Justin Jefferson, welcome back to the show. He is not on the injury report. He is back fully healthy. We'll see how quick he does, take to get back his game legs. And excuse me, and see how far he's going to be able to take this offense. This will only open up a Jordan Addison. That much more makes me very happy. But can Josh Dobbs support 2 wide receivers to this level? We'll see. I'm okay with it. I'm suggesting it. If you got Addison, flex play, start Justin Jefferson everywhere you got him. And then TJ Hawkinson continues on the low-level risk. He's been far too good, 146 points. He's the top tight end in all of half PPR fantasy football. Fire these gentlemen up in a must-win game for these Minnesota Vikings. New Orleans Saints, there is a big problem. How do we trust anything coming from the New Orleans Saints right now? Apparently, Derek Carr has passed concussion protocol, and they're saying, okay, inject his ribs and shoulder on the AC joint and throw him out there. This man is held together with bubble gum at this point. Why won't you play a Jameis Winston? I don't understand. What did Jameis ever do to y'all, man? Play the man, for God's sakes. But Derek Carr, he's basically trying to save the day. Injury level risk, I'm not playing it. For streaming quarterbacks, I would say no to a Derek Carr this week. Look for better options. But an Alvin Kamara does get a stud start versus these Panthers. He should absolutely carve up this defense in both the run and the pass, in the short pass and yak ability. I love Alvin Kamara this week on the stud start. Chris Olave's been dealing with an illness. Hopefully he's back. They say he's going to suit up in this contest regardless. Good upside play with a Jameis, I was hoping. But at least they've been force-feeding him enough. Rashid Shaheed is on the injury-level risk right now for me. I don't like Shaheed coming off the injury. I would much rather play in Olave, but this kind of goes to the same direction where, Taysom Hill has been dealing with some injuries himself, but he's been far too consistent in the TD upside game as well. I like the play. I think we can do it. Even if he does give you the bust from time to time, there is too much volume upside for him to sit at this point. Low-level risk for Taysom. Fire him up everywhere you got him. And hopefully Chris Olave can get us another 100-yard game anywhere around the 13 to 15 points. I'm good with Chris Olave this week, but find other options over Derek Carr. I do not like it. Do not trust it. New York Giants, excuse me, taking on those Green Bay Packers on Monday Night Football. Tommy DeVito. Tyrod Taylor's back from injury, and they said, okay, you're sitting on the bench, and we're going with DeVito because he found something in his game. 65 points so far in the season. Boom game before he went into the bye week. I'm not playing it. Hopefully he can at least support this offense to decent level. Saquon on the low-level risk for me. Coming off the bye week, should be fresh, should be healthy, should be force-fed. I do like Saquon. A lot of upside here in this contest for volume and reception upside. Darius Slayton, high-level risk continues. Boomer bust in the green for a Jalen Hyatt. Told y'all before they went in the bye, they want to see what they got out of this man, so why not do it now? Typically, we see last 5 weeks of the regular season, we see a lot of these rookies start to get a lot of volume because they want to see what they got in these gentlemen heading into the following season. So Jalen Hyatt, I do expect at least 4 targets to come his way. We'll see what he'll be able to do with them. DeVito found him before they went into the bye. He got himself a boom game, so hopefully that does continue. Wan'Dale Robinson on the mid-level. I'm not trusting that either. Even in my flex, I'm looking elsewhere. And Daniel Bellinger is still the tight end because apparently Darren Waller says he's not, feeling comfortable. I won't be surprised if we don't see Darren Waller for the rest of the season, if I'm being honest. But, I mean, the Giants still very much a crapshoot, not trusting a lot of these players. New York Jets in the weather event taking on these Houston Texans. Zach Wilson, the Cougar Killer, I mean... he's playing again. Basically said, they're like, do you want to play? He's like, yeah, not really. I'm good. I was enjoying my time on the bench, laughing it up with Aaron Rodgers. He's back in the fold. They dropped Boyle. He was, hot garbage. And now, okay, high-level risk for a Zach Wilson. It wasn't good before. Nothing's going to change. Breece Hall, on the other hand, he could have low-level risk for me as long as they continue to feed this man the football. They kind of tapered it off. Breece is dealing with an ankle injury. You got to play him. You drafted him where you drafted him. You got to play a Breece Hall in Week 14 and hope he can find his way back into the end zone. It has been a minute since he's been in that end zone, but I like Breece this week. Fire him up. Garrett Wilson on the mid-level risk. He's been doing enough for us, even on a crappy quarterback rotation. 7 boom games on the season. It legit has been boom one week, bust the next. Boom one week, bust the next. So which Garrett Wilson will we get this week? He's pegged to bust this week. And especially in weather with Zach Wilson, I'm going to continue down that path. Mid-level risk, you got better options. Do that over a Garrett Wilson. Ty Conklin, the other player on this offense that we can maybe trust to some levels. It's still a low floor. 4 receptions, 48 yards. Like, that's kind of what you're getting from Ty Conklin. So, I mean, if you just want that safe 4 to 6 points, absolutely fire up Conklin. You're looking for upside. You're not going to get it from this man. Philadelphia Eagles taking on those Dallas Cowboys. Like I said on Sunday Night Football, this game is going to be awesome. I can't wait. We have not seen these Eagles get slapped in the mouth and punched in the face. I don't even remember last time they got this way, okay? Jalen Hurts, he's going to be ready for this contest. 11 boom games. And like I'm saying, the Dallas Cowboys, while it is, Diggs and that other kid that's been picking off footballs and taking it to the house, Bland, his name evaded me, but Bland, he's been picking off everything and taking it pick six style into the end zone. They're so opportunistic in Dallas when it comes to trying to get interceptions and turnovers that they are susceptible to the big plays. Get ready for grown-ass man A.J. Brown. Low-level risk, man. They need a guy to punish this defense, and A.J. Brown is definitely going to be the guy to do it. I foresee a lot of force-feeding to an A.J. Brown. Fire him up everywhere he got him like always anyway, but he should have a massive day. 120 yards and a touchdown doesn't seem out of the realm of possibilities. Jalen Hurts gets back on track. He's almost at 300 points, y'all, rivaling Josh Allen for point productivity. So good. DeAndre Swift, he's back in the goods for me after not playing so well. He did get lit up this past week. He was basically off the injury report right away. Why do I trust a Swift this week? Because they got Dallas Goedert back to etch out that side of the line, and they will be able to run outside once again with DeAndre Swift. Low-level risk, fire him up everywhere he got him. Even though the Cowboys' front seven is very good, the loss of Van Der Esch is going to pay a lot of problems as they move down the road, so watch out for that. I like Swift this week as well. Like I said, grown-ass man A.J. Brown, fire him up. Devontae Smith, Smitty. Low-level risk, PPR upside is still very good. 8 boom games, he's so good. And the low upside bust game on the return for a Dallas Goedert for me. I would look in other directions. I want to see how he's going to come back from it. I do foresee a lot of blocking from him outside of a lot of point productivity for your fantasy team. Those San Francisco 49ers might be the best team in the entire NFL right now. Brock Purdy looks so good. I mean, just decisive, getting protection, able to dissect any defense right now. Low-level risk, fire him up. He's playing so good, and they're spreading the ball. Kyle Shanahan's feeling himself right now, man. He's calling everything. Everything's working. Firing up points everywhere you got him. Brock Purdy, low-level risk. Christian McCaffrey, do I have to say it? Stud start, baby, against the Seattle Seahawks. He's going to carve them up in a big way. 12 boom games, 269 points. You could give Christian McCaffrey the league MVP this year, and it should be justified like a Tyreek. Give it, give a split. No more quarterbacks. Give it to Tyreek and CMC on a co-MVP. I'm good with it, man. Fire up CMC and just watch the points roll in. Debo, he had a massive contest this past week, which indicates they should pull back a little bit in this contest. I got mid-level risk. Debo should still have a decent day, but I don't foresee 3 touchdowns coming this way. I do see more from Ayuk. I do see a little bit more from Jennings and Kittle over a Debo, because you got to understand, they want to keep Debo healthy going into the playoffs. Why utilize him if you don't have to? CMC should see a big workload. Ayuk should be able to carve it up on the low-level risk, and then George Kittle, loves to play the Seahawks, usually finds his way into the end zone. I do like all these plays right now. You can fire up Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle, and you can feel pretty comfortable about it, even though I'm a huge fan of the Seattle Seahawks improving secondary in the pass game with a spoon. But he's just got not near enough right now because Jamal Adams is a big problem on that back end right now. So I do believe the Niners are definitely going to roll in this contest. Speaking of those Seattle Seahawks taking on those 49ers, Geno does find himself popping up on the injury report with a groin injury. They say he's going to play, but I mean, taking on this front seven of the 49ers is a tall task for anybody. However, I will caveat that the offensive line of Seattle has been playing so good that they could stifle even the best pass rush in the NFL, but I'm still going to give Geno a mid-level risk because he will run for his life just a little bit. The other issue why I got Geno on the mid-level is because who the hell is playing running back in Seattle? We won't know until tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow. Kenny Walker still dealing with the oblique. Charbonnet dealing with a knee injury. He had early week swelling on the knee. I don't understand how they're pegging him to play. And if these two gentlemen do not suit up, it's going to be DJ Dallas or a Kenny McIntosh. So pray for the Seattle Seahawks run game because it will not go well with those gentlemen. If we get word it's Kenny Walker, temper the expectations on the mid-level because it's going to be tough sledding, especially dealing with an oblique, potential risk to re-injury. It's going to be one of those situations, if you're going to play him, you got to understand he could exit that contest at any moment, likewise with a Charbonnet, so definitely watch out for that. I will update y'all in the comments on the status of these two running backs as we know, man. DK Metcalf, low-level risk because the 49ers do give up a heaping of points, and Metcalf has seemingly taken off these past several weeks, and Geno is starting to look in his direction a lot more. Physicality is the name of the game, and you can't get any bigger than Cyborg-esque DK Metcalf. Tyler Lockett's been up and down this season, but this is the week he loves playing the 49ers for some reason, finds the end zone all the time. I'm calling TD upside, boom, for a Tyler Lockett. I think he's going to have a very good day. They got to look to other wide receivers outside of DK. I think Lockett is going to, get maybe one of the last huge games we see out of him. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I really do like the play this week. Everything suggests TD upside for a Tyler Lockett. PPR upside on the mid-level for a Jackson Smith-Njigba. I want to see more, man. Here's the other situation. If the running backs like Kenny Walker and Charbonnet do not suit up, you got to recreate the run with a short pass, and this is where JSN would do wonders, man. Force feed this man. Give him 6 to 7 targets a game and see what he can do. I believe he's averaging anywhere from like 6.33 targets over the last 3, so there is potential for JSN to actually be a big-time baller, and Noah Fant been an afterthought all season long. Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on those Atlanta Falcons. Huge divisional contest. Baker Mayfield, the big show. What's he good at? He's good at finding Mike Evans. Another 1,000-yard season, man. And clap it up for Mike Evans. Take a bow. You are now into the NFL Hall of Fame, Mr. Mike Evans. What a career already. 10 straight 1,000-yard seasons, man. You guys, something you will never likely see again in our lifetime is a wide receiver getting 10 in a row starting in the league. Unbelievable stuff, man. Baker Mayfield on the mid-level risk. I caution it because I do like how the Atlanta Falcons secondary does play football. They are very good, and they push and force the issue a lot. Baker Mayfield should struggle in this contest to find a lot of open wide receivers, but Mike Evans too good. So low-level risk for Mike Evans. Lots of PPR checkdowns to a Rashad. Wow, I can't say that man's name to save my life. Rachaad White, low-level risk. 8 boom games. He's super trustworthy. Been booming like a madman the past, 6? Rachaad White, PPR upside is absolutely here with TD upside as well. Mike Evans, low-level risk. Chris Godwin on the low upside. If you got a better option, use it. I just don't like what Chris Godwin's doing in this offense right now. Baker just can't support it all. Trey Palmer on a high-level risk and potential TD upside on the mid-level for a K-Dot, and they got to find other ways because Jesse Bates is a man possessed back there, and I think that he will pick off a Baker Mayfield at some point in this contest. Last one I got is Tennessee Titans taking on these Miami Dolphins on Monday Night Football. Will Levis, high-level risk. I tried, young sir. You just have not shown me near enough to be, happy about with your play. I said D-Hop was going to score a touchdown last week. He did that, so we were good in that respect. But Will Levis versus the Miami Dolphins, improving secondary with Jalen Ramsey playing lights out. Howard just absolutely locking up wide receivers. It's going to be tough sledding to get open, and Will Levis, can you hit them? That's the question I have. High-level risk, I do not believe it. You got to run the football a lot with Derrick Henry and Tyjae Spears if you want to control the clock. That is the MO in this game. Control the bloody clock. Do not let this high-octane Miami Dolphins offense get on the field, and maybe you could pull on the upset, but you got to get Derrick Henry moving. That front seven of Miami is susceptible to giving up some run plays, so I like Derrick Henry once again this week. Tajay, 14-team leagues, maybe. I'm okay with it. Mid-level risk. He had a boom, I believe, this past week, if not the week before. So, I mean, it's high-level risk, high reward. What can you say? But I do like the spelling. They got it. If they don't follow my advice and say, run the football and control the clock, then obviously Tajay's not going to be that guy. I like Henry, obviously, over Tajay. We got mid-level risk, potential bust game for a D-Hop going up against a Jalen Ramsey. While I do still believe D-Hop has enough to at least challenge top elite corners in the league, I just don't think Will Levis is going to be able to get him the football. Treylon Burks, low upside this week. Not trusting it. Westbrook-Ikhine, not trusting it. High-level risk. And then low upside for an Okonkwo. He's finding his way into some decent point productivity. As long as Will Levis can support that, man, I want one more week. Show it to me one more week, and then I'll start to sing his good graces, but find a different tight end if you have them. But there you have it. That is week number 14. Start, sit, lineup advice. This is the last week of the fantasy football regular season. Hopefully you make it in, so we can all stack those trophies. I need a lot more trophies on my trophy case. No kidding. I'm doing very well. I'm in fighting for first place in 2 leagues. I'm in 5th, I believe, in 1, and then 2 others. I'm hovering in the middle as well. So it is a good season so far. So let's get in the playoffs. I'm riding with y'all. Let's get these trophies. But nevertheless, as always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give me your thoughts, drop all your start sit questions in the comments. I will definitely hit y'all back, but we'll see you next time. I am out.